you tell I'm in denial?
You can't stay at the top forever.
I was also very surprised when I looked at my phone and saw Joe Girardi dismissed.
Well, I think mine were with common sense.
I think now belongs in the all-time greats top 10.
Boston, I really think only got to this point because of a guy named Chris Middleton being out for the Bucks.
That power play just was unbearable. It was humming.
Man, am I happy. I knew that this was going to happen. I knew he was going to come back.
When I think of New York Yankees now is Judge, probably people in the past when Jeter was coming up.
I would be shocked. A little bit hurt.
Hey, this is Greg Tepper of Dave Campbell's Texas Football, TexasFootball.com, and Valley Sports Southwest. You are listening to Outsiders Opinions with Kevin and Austin.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to our NFL Opinions of the Week. We did a video talking about holdouts and our opinions of it, and now there have been some lengthy holdouts. There was the CeeDee Lamb one, and then you have Jamar Chase, who held out preseason, then returned to workouts. Then there's also T. Higgins, who's now injured, and the only remaining holdout is Hassan Reddick, who was traded for by the New York Giants. So that is something that we're still remaining. And then Trent Williams was probably the biggest one too. And there were varying results. And the man that did not hold out has not held out, Austin.
Nope. It's I don't think we could ever hold out, Kevin. But this was an interesting first week because we saw, I think Trent Williams maybe was a success, even though he held out. But then you see Ayuk, and Ayuk really did struggle on Monday Night Football. Now, do you think that was more of a Jets thing or a Ayuk is rusty? Kyle Shanahan made it seem like he was going to use him less because of his holdout, but I definitely think that the Jets didn't help him in that department either.
I agree. And there was a moment where Trent Williams, he played well, but there was a moment where he was heading to the locker room. I think he was dehydrated.
Yeah, but he played a large majority of the game, and when he was playing, played well.
Yeah. And so I don't know if he was necessarily in football shape, but yeah, he played well, and they kind of didn't need to do that for him. So I would say Ayuk is a little mix of the Jets, but also it just seemed like that Niners offense took a little bit to get rolling. Passing wise, there were some misconnections between Purdy and Debo to start the game.
Yeah. Debo, I mean, this isn't a Debo video at all, but Debo was struggling early in the game too. And then we go to the Bengals. They had a multitude of holdouts, and they ended up losing to the Patriots. Now, were all of those holdouts indicative of why that happened? I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
To me, it probably didn't help with all the holdouts, but the Bengals have been a team that they start slow in the season. They lost last year, I'm pretty sure. They lost 2 years ago. And they just kind of need to get rolling. But putting 10 points up against the Patriots defense, who's their starting corner? Is my question.
He went to Oregon. Christian Gonzalez.
Okay, Christian Gonzalez. But I would say us struggling. To me, it was an offensive issue why they didn't score 10 points, not from the Patriots' supreme defense. And if you look at receiving wise, do you know who the second wide receiver was, or second leader in receiving was for the Bengals?
Was it Yoshivas? Andre Yoshivas?
Yes, you're correct. He had 26 yards, 3 receptions. Jamar Chase did have 6 receptions, but only for 62 yards. No touchdowns. Zach Moss got a touchdown on a run. So it just didn't seem like they were all hitting all cylinders, which a part of it could be because of the holdout, but also that's just how they historically have been in the past few years.
Yeah, and CeeDee had an okay game, moving on to CeeDee. But I
Yeah.
don't think he was as dominant as he was last year by any means.
Yeah, no, and they faced a tough defense, but he did make some great plays in the catch. But yeah, it was not a great offensive outing for the Cowboys. They did just enough. And CD did not get a touchdown. The only touchdown passing wise was Brandon Cooks.
Yep.
So
They had a Zeke rushing touchdown.
Zeke touchdown, and then a Kevontae Turpin touchdown, and then the rest were field goals.
Oh, that's right. They had the punt return, right?
Punt return, yeah. Kevontae Turpin finally returned a punt. And then now we'll have to see what happens because there is the T. Higgins injury, and he was holding out for a little bit. And he didn't play in preseason. And it's just hard to tell with if that was a part of the holdout or just something that happened.
Yeah.
So
What other big holdouts were there?
I think that's pretty much it. The only remaining one is Hassan Reddick, and that's something.
Isn't he holding out for a trade though?
Well, he got traded.
No, but didn't he request a trade as well?
I think he did request a trade as well because they're not willing to offer him a new contract. So he said, if you're not going to pay me, then trade me. But they already traded a third-round pick for him. I'm trying to look. Yeah, Reddick wants a new contract and may be willing to hold out indefinitely to get one. So that's something I'm interested in if he gets traded. Even if he's holding out and gets traded at the deadline, how does he look from a pass rusher's perspective?
Yeah, I mean, his last 4 years have been remarkable. I mean, he's played on 3 different teams before the Jets. He played for Arizona, had 12.5 sacks. Carolina, 11 sacks. Philly, 16. Philly, 11. He's played extremely well. So he is a premier rusher. It's just whether or not they're going to offer him the contract that he wants to play at.
Yeah, and now kind of looking ahead, because week 1, everyone is sort of in that physical standpoint of getting used to football shape, especially with not using the preseason. But now you have the Niners facing the Vikings. So to me, their passing game should look much better with especially Ayuk. And then you have the Bengals facing the Chiefs, which they have some good corners, but not great corners. And then so I'm interested to see what Trent Williams does for the Vikings, and then what do T. Higgins and Jamar Chase do? T. Higgins may not even play, but how does Jamar Chase play as well?
Yeah, we'll have to see. It's obviously we all expect the Bengals to play better than they played last Sunday. So, and T. Higgins is supposed to return from injury potentially, and if that's the case, we can talk about Higgins as well because he did hold out as well. So.
Yeah, that kind of concludes. And some deals it worked out. It worked out for Trent Williams. Ayuk, okay, worked out for CD. And then it's still a question mark for Higgins and Chase. And then obviously Hassan Reddick.
Yep.
Yeah, that is all we got. Let us know your thoughts in the comments, and I'll let Austin close this one out.
Yeah, thank you guys for listening. Please let us know which holdouts did you think affected the player the most or the team the most, and what do you think happens with the Hassan Reddick deal? Does he get one, or does he just hold out for the rest of the season? Thank you guys for listening.